yeah, we were kind of marveling over this one. Clara had made a point about the opulence of the butler's room that it mentions in here. But I wanted to take a minute to mention this particular property, this fancy hotel, because I want you to see how it's got all this grand opulence, and it's a very modern structure. Obviously, it's been very well engineered, right? See, there are underwater parts of it. It's cantilevered and extends out over the top. I think they said it stands like 16 feet above the ocean or whatnot. But at any rate, my overall point is you take a look at this thing and, we have built a solid modern structure there, right? And I say to you, and no one would argue, right? Not a fucking soul on this planet, not a fucking soul watching this video, not a fucking soul anywhere could argue me. Right, you saw how low resting that island was, right? And they talk about how, right, like in the Philippines or something like that, one of the many thousand island nations, right? They talk about how at high tide, right, 3/4 of their nation disappears, right? And then it comes right, because that's how sensitive they are to it. So a structure like this, right? This is a modern structure, right? Modern man built this structure, right?
Sure.
A fucking frog's fart of a fucking tsunami, the fragilest, weakest of tsunamis, would just absolutely erase that fucking whole island community. All of the structures on that little flat island that support this fancy villa and the villa, right? So any number of good-sized and every large and every big, huge tsunami, there'd be zero fucking trace of that. Post-tsunami, the finest surveyors of the finest fucking species could come along and go, yeah, this is a nice raw little patch of island that we can build what we want on here, right? Because not a fucking thing has been here before.
Right.
To overall express my point of, don't you tell me that we weren't building shit that was cool and that was massive and that was amazing 200,000 years ago. Because the Earth has no problem taking away our shit on the regular. Right? I don't like to mention tragedy with such haphazard or such lightheartedness, but I mean, like, would they say like 25,000 homes or whatever it was removed by that forest fires that we just suffered in California, right? And the storms that constantly batter the southeast that we've just had. Remove homes and remove just because we don't see these ancient cities, ancient towns, ancient orgy locations, as I like to call them, because I don't think they would have been living the same way we have lived with the agrarian, sedentary societies. I do think that they would have been more the creature that understood, I own these environments. I can lay my head. I think they would have been like essentially prehistoric Romans, right?
Right.
I can lay my head anywhere I want unaccosted, right? There isn't an animal in this jungle that is going to try and kill this village, right? Because we humans are not to be fucked with, right? Mm-hmm. And like I always say, sure, the jungle got a few of us every once in a while, right? Because the jungle has to eat. Right, we would have understood that we were a creature that adhered to the laws of the jungle and the food chain, right? But we were at the top of that food chain.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, most animals are programmed. They don't stay anywhere near us. We had to learn. We had to become cunning and intelligent on the level that we were able to pursue and hunt these creatures because we got so good at killing them that they were all fucking terrified of us that they leave. Everywhere we go, they leave. Right. Yeah. So we had to become master hunters. Right. Because we would have been traveling around knowing that we own every ecosystem we walk into, right? Mm-hmm. I don't need to leave a permanent structure or take the effort to build a permanent structure. I'd rather build one of those really cool, really fancy structures in the jungle around my temporary hot tub where we're going to have some orgies for a fucking couple of weekends, maybe a full moon cycle or two, right? And then we're going to move on to a new location. And when nature comes along and does whatever it, right? It's burp, it's fart, it's fucking cough, right? And destroys my thing. I don't give a shit. I'm going to build something new when I get to where I go, right? And if you think we're wrong, we do it today. They just illustrated that ice hotel that melts every fucking season.
Right.
And someone comes back along, spends 2 months grinding, digging, shoveling, plowing.
Right.
They build it again. Tell me I'm wrong. You don't think we were doing this 200,000